Alright, so this bit of news isn't really confirmed or anything. It was just an idea that kind of sparked in my head because this could happen. This could actually happen, and I thought I'd talk about it. And this was passed along to me by my good friend Jason Voorhees 2011, who basically sent me a thing talking about like this article talking about the like a future G.I. Joe Transformers crossover movie. Now, the article itself was pretty barren. It was just a guy on Patreon who said, oh yeah, they're totally doing a Transformers G.I. Joe movie. They're totally doing it. Paramount's totally going to do a Transformers G.I. Joe movie. So, yeah, that's like literally saying, just trust me, bro. Yeah, that's how it goes. Now, let's talk about that for a second. Like, let's really delve into the idea of the possibility of a Transformers versus G.I. Joe movie, or whatever they call it. Now, the big thing is, you have to look at a couple factors. Could this happen? Yes. Do I think it's happening soon? Unlikely. Could it still happen? Yeah. Do I think that it should happen? Yeah, of course. I would absolutely love it. And it makes so much sense because Hasbro, literally, it's their two biggest franchises. G.I. Joe and Transformers are their two biggest franchises, and they've crossed over so many times. It would make so much sense to just have Transformers and G.I. Joe in the same universe. They've tried that in a movie universe before, so you might as well. I think some of the factors that are gonna have to happen for this to work. A, Rise of the Beast has gotta fly. It has really got to take off in box office numbers. So, yeah, I think it all hinges on if any other projects for Transformers or anyone else happens next. It's gotta be on the backs of Transformers Rise of the Beast. If that fails, any possible talk of a Transformer G.I. Joe movie, people will go, yeah, Paramount will go, yeah. Yeah, they won't do that. So that's kind of a big deal. That's kind of the biggest issue you have to look into with this whole story, is that it all depends on Rise of the Beasts. Furthermore, you really have to look at the other major factor that we have to play into this whole game. The other major factor in this whole thing is G.I. Joe versus Transformers would be totally marketable. And the reason why I think Paramount would think about doing it is because of how well Godzilla vs. Kong did. That big crossover movie and that whole universe itself is making bank. Especially, like, after post-COVID, that was one of the biggest movies to come out of post-COVID. So I'm pretty sure if there was any thought of G.I. Joe versus Transformers between Hasbro and Paramount, that's one of the things they would point to, is like, look how well Godzilla vs. Kong did, and let's do that. Now, this is a idea that has been tossed around multiple times. Like I said, Hasbro wanted to pull off a shared universe before. They really wanted to do a big shared universe like in Revolutions, but it just couldn't take off. I think it was supposed to start with Snake Eyes Origins. Yeah, I think it was supposed to start with Snake Eyes Origins, and Snake Eyes Origins happened. Now, there is a lot of talk of another G.I. Joe movie in the works. So, who knows? Maybe that could be the G.I. Joe... maybe if Transformers Rise of the Beast does well, maybe they'll cycle back to that idea and then be like, oh yeah, we could totally, like, maybe do like an after credit scene of like Cobra Commander going into a room and finding Megatron all strung up in like a building, like just deactivated, and be like, turn him on, or something of that degree. And then we go to G.I. Joe versus Transformers. Why versus? Because that always gets people in seats of seeing, oh, we're gonna see giant robots and soldiers fight. Yay. And don't say, like, oh, that's stupid, that's impossible. Have you seen the number of comics that have come out that have delved into G.I. Joe and Transformers being a thing and how marketable it is? Hell, I wouldn't be shocked as to whoever gets the comic rights to G.I. Joe and Transformers next will do a Transformer G.I. Joe crossover. I'm kind of leaning towards still, like, Image getting it. But I would not... Actually, I'm kind of leaning towards Titan Books also possibly getting the book as well. I think that's another strong possibility, is Titan Books getting the comic as well, getting the comic license as well. So, what would I like to see in a movie like that? What would I like to see in a Transformers versus G.I. Joe movie? A lot of things. You gotta have like Megatron turn into a gun mode, and then like Cobra Commander grabs it and just starts shooting at people. Have Snake Eyes meet Prowl. Optimus carrying all the Joes in the trailer, and they shoot out going, "Yo, Joe," and roll out. Crazy shit like that. As for story, I don't know. Like, that's the thing. Like, would it be alternate history? Would it be like its own continuity? That could happen. Like, could this possible movie be like its own timeline? I think that if they want to do the whole cinematics shared universe route, they would have to like really focus on like the idea of not doing that, and probably going the route of, hey, we're gonna do our own. We're gonna keep this all in continuity with Rise of the Beasts, and have this with the new G.I. Joe movie. Again, if that, like, just this is a hypothetical. This is, if anything else, this is just more hypothetical than anything else. I think it would be kind of cool to see, like, just the idea of having the Joes and the Autobots on the big screen. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to sound like I'm shitting on it. It's just the quote-unquote source that says this. It's one guy on a Patreon, and it's basically the equivalent of, "You gotta believe me, bro." That's really how it feels. It's more like, "You gotta believe me, bro. That's totally happening. Please believe me, bro." Not to sound like I'm shitting on the guy, but I'm just like, there's no evidence here. So, would I love to see a G.I. Joe Transformer movie? Hell yeah. I would absolutely love a G.I. Joe versus Transformer movie. I'm just saying, like, right now, we have no evidence to really back that up, so I can't really, speak for anybody other than, oh yeah, that would be really cool. Like, I would absolutely love to see that. I would absolutely love to see, like, a full-on G.I. Joe versus Transformer movie. I'd love to see, like, Cobra Commander climbing out of Starscream, Baroness, having Ravage on a leash, or Six Shot and Zartan fucking shit up. That'd be really cool. Like, that's all stuff I'd love to see. But as it stands, I'm like, I think it all depends if there is if there is even a 1% chance of this idea happening. It has to depend on how well Rise of the Beast does. I'm pretty sure, like, if this becomes a thing, or they even talk about it more, it would probably have to depend on the numbers for how well Transformers Rise of the Beast does. Because other than that, yeah, I don't know how they could do this. I really don't know how they could pull off and get away with something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really just depends on those numbers, because as we all know in Hollywood, money talks, and the money better be screaming for that during that June 9th weekend release. So, yeah, I'm not trying to sound like I'm shitting on it. I really don't. I really want this to happen. I'm the crossover guy. Of course I want to see this shit happen. I'm always ecstatic for a new crossover. You kidding me? I would absolutely love to see a Transformers versus G.I. Joe's thing on the big screen. I'm just saying, like, I have nothing to go on, and we don't have any, like, credible sources to be like, oh yeah, this is totally happening. But I thought it'd make for a fun video, so I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna talk about it and see what everyone else thinks, because I'm very curious to see what you guys want to know, what you guys have to say about it. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of this quote-unquote leak source for a G.I. Joe versus Transformers movie? Are you guys in? Would you guys want that? Would you guys not? And how would you want to do the story? Just comment below, let me know, and once again, hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.